To note, we are going to record today's session for posterity. That way, if anybody couldn't be here, they will be able to access this training at a later date. So just keep that in mind as we go forward. Well, good. I appreciate you guys being here today. My name is Chris McDonald. I'm the coordinator of instructional technology in Rockwell ISD. And so I've been in this position for a few years, but if you need help integrating technology, we have a team of instructional technology specialists that work with all of our teachers across the district, helping you guys integrate technology into your classrooms. So we are here to support you in your teaching and to do what we can to make your instruction and integrating technology the best that we can. So if at any time you need help during the school year, please don't hesitate to reach out to your instructional technology team, and we'll be happy to help you. Today we're going to talk about Eduphoria and Rockwell ISD, and if you completed the new teacher training this summer, you would have been introduced to that and you would have seen it. So we're going to spend some time going over these three main applications that we use here in the district that our teachers use. And so we're going to cover some of those things. Throughout this website, there are videos you don't need to watch right now. But as we've gone on, I've created different things. So if you need to come back and review, this might be a good website for you to keep somewhere as a bookmark or save it. So that way, if you need to walk yourself through any of these things again, you're able to do that. Before we actually get started on the content today, I'm going to introduce Flipgrid here. If you click on Flipgrid at the bottom of that page, it's going to open up Flipgrid. And what Flipgrid is a video discussion board where you're able to post prompts and questions, and students are able to respond to that prompt using their cameras and reply to one another as well. So as we're going through a lot of this remote learning, it's a great way to connect with students that we might miss, since some of us might not be in the classroom, or some of those students won't be in our classrooms. So this is a good way to continue to get to know each other face to face. So we've asked you today to go ahead and click on that and log in with your Rockwell Google account. And you can select to remember you, so you don't have to do that every time. So the first thing I've done is created a grid, and then I've posted my first prompt here, which is say hello and share a fun fact about yourself. And I'm going to ask you to respond to that using your video camera. One of the things you'll have to do if you want to participate in this is turn off your video camera here in Zoom, so that way when you click this big green plus or this big green button, you are able to allow Flipgrid to access your video camera. It won't work if your camera is on here too. So go ahead and take a minute or two to click on this, introduce yourself, and share a fun fact about yourself. All right, thanks to those of you that chose to do that. We appreciate it. It's just a cool tool we wanted to show you. This might be something you want to integrate into your own classroom this coming year. So to get started, we're going to look at Aware first. We're going to spend some time there, go over Forethought, and then Strive. So we have a little bit of time to do that. So some of the things we're going to go through a little fast. If at any time during this presentation you have a question, feel free to unmute yourself and just ask. It'll be hard to view the chat box while I'm also presenting, but you're welcome to type in your question if you're not comfortable using your microphone. All right, so first let's talk a little bit about Aware. Now, Eduphoria is where we do a lot of different things with student data, access student data, as well as our evaluations, the curriculum, and things like that. So we're going to go ahead and go through this presentation here, and then if you need to come back to it at a later time, there's a video tutorial going over the same information. There are also help documents down here if you're interested in using them. These documents are also contained here in this link. So if you want to access the folders of different help documents, you're welcome to do that as well. All right, so just a brief reminder of what we're doing here today is we're going to locate student forms and data in Aware and learn how to create a quick test key. Because of time, we're not going to actually create a quick test key, but I'm going to talk a little bit about what that looks like. Just keep in mind, staff update their profile. So you guys have set up your profile the first time you logged into Eduphoria. At the beginning of the school year, we ask every staff member to do that again. So later this week, Thursday or Friday, you're going to log into Eduphoria and be asked to update that information. And the reason that is because staff maintain their campuses and their roles. That's not set up automatically. So if you change campuses from year to year, staff are required to go into that profile and change their campus there. And that has implications on how these different programs work. So you select My Profile there to update that information. And then again, if you need any help with any technology, whether it's hardware, software, programs, logging in, students log in, you don't see something you think you should see, use that technology help desk link there on the staff links page, and that's the best way to get help. Emails can get missed, but this way it'll create a ticket in our help desk system, and we're able to send that information to whoever needs it to provide you with the best support. So inside of Aware, we use, or inside of Eduphoria, there's Aware, there's different applications, and we use Aware to view data. That's both testing, student assessment data, as well as individual student data for like things like IEPs and 504. You'll also have these alerts at the top of your screen. I don't know if anybody really ever looks at these, but they're there, and it's one way to get a shortcut to anything that might be pending there for you. So we're going to look at Aware today. When your courses are linked to Skyward, which they're not yet, you will see a list of courses on the left-hand side. That's how you can view data for students by class period. You can also look at all of your students at once. So using that All My Students button, and that's on the Analyze tab. When we give CCAs, when we give assessments, this Test Available button is how you'll do that. You'll get more information on another day about doing that. But we're going to look specifically at the Student tab right now. With the Student tab, I'm able to search for individual students. If I want to look at how this one in particular student performed, I just want to give you a heads up that all of the data here is fake data. These are not real students. We're not violating anybody's privacy with this data. This was created for the purposes of training. So I can search for students by individual name. I type that student's name and hit enter. Don't click on that question mark. People do that and it gets confusing. That will not give you what you want. So type in a student's name and hit enter. Another option for searching for students is looking at the student forms, and that's a pretty important piece of this. The forms are how our special services provide that information to the teachers. So there are forms for special ed and other departments where they attach forms to students, and by selecting these forms, you'll get a list of students that have these forms assigned to them. Keep in mind, when you click on those forms, we'll talk about this in a minute, that is your legal signature that you have viewed this. So when it comes to IEP accommodations, 504 accommodations, viewing the form is your stamp that, yes, I have viewed these. And so that does count as a legal signature. So I'm going back here and I'm searching for Hudson. I hit enter and it pulls up all of this information here at the top. I can see the student ID, date of birth. Also on that general tab, you'll see programs that the students coded for. Most likely you would track that information inside of Skyward. It's available there. And everything that we see here comes from Skyward for the most part. So your ability to see students is based on how they're enrolled inside of Skyward. On this Forms tab here where we're going to start, you would see a list of the different forms that are available for that particular student. By selecting View, that's where you're able to view that student's form. And we use forms for different things. When someone adds a form to a student, like a diagnostician or a testing coordinator or something, when they add that form, they'll click a button that says Mark is updated. And what that does is send an email to all of the teachers that student is assigned to, alerting them via email that you have a new form to view. So if you get that email, that means you need to go in and view that document again. Sometimes those are updated in between ARD meetings or things. So you will be notified when a student has a new form assigned to them. All right, so other than that Forms tab, looking at the Test and Scores tab, you won't have this right now because you don't have individual students. But when you select this student and you go to their tests and scores, you'll see how they performed on state tests. You'll see state tests listed. You'll see district assessments, semester exams, CBAs, curriculum or campus common assessments, which are like the unit assessments that we do. You also have the ability as a teacher to create your own teacher tests. And so teachers are free to do that, and we're going to talk about that shortly. But if you double click on any of these test results, that will open up the test and you can see how that student performed on particular SEs and student expectations and learning standards, things like that. All right, so now creating a teacher test. We're not actually going to take the time to do this today, but I'm going to walk you through it real quick so you can kind of see what you're able to do as a teacher. There are different types of tests in there you can create. The easiest are the quick test keys. And the reason you might want to do this is you want that data in a way to track it. You want to see how your students are performing. You can create a quick test key, which is just the answer choices for questions. So I might have a test on paper that a student's looking at. They might even mark their answer on the paper, but they can go in online and mark their answers and you'll quickly grab that information. That quick test key will allow you to tag the questions with learning standards. You can have a primary and a secondary standard. So say I want to know how my student's performing and I want to grab some formative data. A quick test key is the easiest way to do that. There is a handout that walks you through that. If we were face-to-face, we would take time to do that, but it's a little hard to support remotely like this. So again, your instructional technology team will be happy to help you with this. All right, so that's a basic overview of how AWARE functions and how we use it. Are there any questions at this point? Okay, so next we're going to look at forethought, and here we're going to do a little bit of hands-on you're going to have to create your own stuff here. So forethought for our district, that houses the district curriculum documents. You guys would have reviewed those during the summertime in that new teacher training. So in addition to the curriculum documents, there's something called your lesson planner, and that's where teachers are asked to post their lesson plans. It doesn't mean you have to create them there. It's just the location where you post them. So you're not emailing them to a principal or putting them in some obscure folder. The principals can go to one location and find your lesson plans there. Again, accessing Eduphoria, log in with your username and password. Help desk to get any assistance that you might need. All right, so during the summer, we talked about the scope and sequence tab, and you were able to do a scavenger hunt through the curriculum documents to find information. What the planner does is it allows you to tie that scope and sequence information inside of your lesson planner directly, so you don't have to go out to the scope and sequence. I say that, however, you might not want to put all of those courses in there. It's a lot of work to maintain. So what you'll do is you're going to create a schedule in just a moment. And on that schedule, you're going to put entries. Entries are the courses you teach. You would only want one entry per prep. So if I teach Algebra 1 6 times, I only have to put Algebra 1 one time. And then if I also teach geometry, I might want geometry down there as well. However, if you put all of your lesson plans on one document, then you really only need one entry. If you have lesson plans for algebra and then lesson plans for geometry, you would want 2 entries for that. So it's really up to you and how you're going to set up your own individual planner. I want to show you kind of what it looks like before I ask you to make your own. So when you set up your planner and you go to your planner tab, you're going to see the calendar up here. The date that you are on is highlighted. Any date that you clicked on will be bolded. That means your planner has been stamped like a big rubber stamp on that day. And we're going to talk about the implications of that in just a moment. So you'll see your lesson planner here. Every teacher needs their own individual planner. And then you'll have entries. So when I have those entries, what I'm able to do is click in this gray area here for that course, and the curriculum documents will show up on the right-hand side. Now that's nice, except there's a lot of bells and whistles over here that we don't use in Rockwall. So you're able to say, hey, you know what? I want to track every week which learning standards I've addressed. So I can click on those and add them here, but you're not required to do that. You can actually just type your lesson plans here if that's something that you want to do. You can also attach it as a Word document, and we're going to look at that in a moment. But what most teachers do is they collaborate with other teammates. They collaborate on a Google document. So what you would do then is post just a link to your Google document. That means you're not having to spend a lot of time in the planner. You're just pasting the link to those documents that you were creating inside of Google instead. So you'll have those curriculum documents here. You can attach here, post a link, and we're going to go over what that looks like. Now just instead of posting a URL, you can also just create a hyperlink, and then we're going to talk about what that allows us to do in just a moment. So considering your schedule as you're creating it, the best advice here is to keep it simple. Only put the fewest number of entries as you think is appropriate. So if I teach elementary, I'm only going to include the content areas that I teach. You have the ability to add special areas like lunch or conference period. You could use those as placeholders. For example, if you put conference on there, that's a good place to document what you did during your conference period that day. I called this parent, I emailed this student, I retested these kids. So if you want a place to document that, the planner is a good place to do it. Absolutely not required. You just need to have a planner with at least one entry on it in order to have a place to post your lesson plans. So we're going to start in just a moment. You're going to create a planner. The first thing you do is add a schedule, give it a title, and then have an entry. So this handout here, if you scroll down a little bit, there's a handout for setting up your planner. I'm going to do this with you, so if you want to walk through it with me, but you are welcome to work ahead. I do want to show you a little Windows 10 trick if you're not familiar already. When I have a window and I need to have more than one window open, if I drag it to the left, you see that little thing that happens? It's going to put my window half screen, and I can do the same thing on the right-hand side. Or if I post it straight up, it makes it full screen. So it's an easier way to have side-by-side windows, and if you wanted to adjust it, you can adjust the sizes too. So just a little trick that might help you during this portion. All right, so setting up your planner, here's the steps. This is a 2-page document. We'll talk about the second page in just a moment. So go ahead and open this up, and I want you to log into Eduphoria, and you're going to go into Forethought. And I'm actually going to switch windows here. All right, so here I go into Forethought, and it asks me to set up my planner. All right, so I'm going to click Next. Most teachers only have one schedule. So you just need to give your schedule a name. Our recommendation over here is to give it your name and the campus that you're on. This makes it easy for your principal to differentiate whose planner they're looking at. So if I do first name, last name, and put my campus, click Next. All right, now I can add the different entries here. Again, you only want an entry per prep that you have. And even then, you might only want one entry depending on how you set up your lesson plans. So I'm going to add an entry. And in this example, it's going to be a course with learning standards. If I wanted to add that placeholder, that conference, I would do a special entry that's not tied to any learning standards. But I want to create a course with learning standards, and then I select which course that is. So here I'm going to be a 7th grade math teacher. When I teach 7th grade math, I select that entry and click Next. If I want, I can edit the course title. Typically, we don't edit that. And now I have an entry on my schedule. If I want to add more, I can. If I want to change the order, I can always move them up and down, or I can always select it and remove it. But once I have my one entry at least, I'm going to click Next. Now ask, do I want to add another schedule? I don't. I only want this one schedule. I'm going to click No. And that's it. Click Begin using Forethought. I'm going to give you a minute to finish up. Give me a thumbs up if you guys need more time. You're all good? Thumbs up, need more time? Okay. And remember, you can always come back to this. We're going to talk about that in just a minute, how you can come back and edit it if you need a little more support. All right. If you need a little more time, that's okay. You can keep working. I'm going to talk a little bit about how that planner works. So I've come in here. I'm on the 4th, and here's my planner. This is a lesson plan template that our curriculum instruction team has provided. If you want that as a guide, you are welcome to use it by you just type right on this area. But I personally don't want to use it. I know a lot of teachers don't use it. So you can just delete it. Now we have changed our planner and removed that. All right, if I click save, now anytime I make a change, I want to make sure I click save. From now on, moving forward, I want this to be the planner that I use. I don't want that template to show up every time. So if I click on the 5th, right, it's going to stamp it with that template on there because I haven't changed that setting yet. So back here on the 4th, where I edited my template, I'm going to click on my gray bar. Now, see, I can see those curriculum documents here on the right. And again, this is not something most people do, but you are welcome to say, hey, you know what, I worked on this and this one, and you can click on them and it'll add it up here. That's the benefit of having multiple entries, is that you can track the different standards that you've used on those different courses, but you're not required to do that. So ignoring this part, all right, here, I want to set this as my default. I removed that template, and if I check this little wrench up here, I can say set default text for entry. What that does, it means moving forward, this is what will show up when I click on a future date. So it's like a big stamp, remember? So when I click on the 6th, I didn't click save. When I click on the 6th, it's going to stamp that on that date for me. If I go back to the 5th, oh, it still has the old one. It didn't overwrite it. And that's what we want. Changing your planner and changing the default will not change something you've already done. So since I've already clicked on the 5th, my old planner was here. If I want to remove that planner and stamp my updated planner on top, I use this little calendar looking button, calendar with the plus sign, and say delete today's plans. Now keep in mind, it really does delete everything that's on here. So if you posted information you need, you might not want to do this. However, if I delete today's plans, it removes the old planner and stamps my new default planner on top of it. I would need to set as default for each entry that I have. So if I remove that template from 2 or 3 entries, I have to go in and set the default for each individual entry, if that makes sense. So that's why it might be easier just to have one entry and then post your lesson plans as needed, because we're not really using this information to track data, but you are absolutely welcome to do that. Okay, now, most teachers don't create their lesson plans here. Like I said, they create them on a document somewhere else, a Google document, a Word document, that's fine. So instead of typing them up here, I just need a link to that document that's somewhere else. All right, so I'm going to go to my document here, right? And when I click share, I'll get a link, and I can copy that link, pretending this is my lesson plan. And then I just paste that link right here. Now, I've pasted the link, but this is not a clickable link. It's just text. In order to make it so people can click on it and view it, you have to then highlight that text and use this little add a link icon. So you're going to insert a web link. Now, when I click this box shows up here. It moves over here. It's weird. And then it's little, and I can't see everything. So I have to open that up each time. So all I want is to say, hey, when I click on this text right here, I want to go to this URL and click OK. It looks like nothing happened, but it did. If I close the box and get off of this, I can see that it is now a clickable link. And just like in the curriculum documents, if you double click on that, it now opens up that document. All right. So one of the things that some teachers do is they'll share a folder of their lesson plans. And if you share the same folder every week, you don't have to come in and recreate this hyperlink each time. You could post a link to a folder instead of an individual document. Once I do that, so let's pretend this link goes to a folder. I can click over here on the right and say set as default text for entry. All right, now it's been set. And that means when I click on the future dates, now remember, So now it's stamped my URL here. And that means moving forward, I don't have to go and create a URL or hyperlink every single time. Now in Rockwall, typically we just post our lesson plans on Monday by Thursday, but you post them on Monday, meaning if I post Monday's plans on the 10th, I don't have to go and click on each individual day and do it day by day. I can say my whole week's plans are just posted here on Monday the 10th. Does that make sense? So if this is my default text, that means moving forward, I could even just come in here and click on these dates and it'll add that information. Okay, so that's setting up the planner and that's posting them. Again, you can also always add an attachment. So if you'd rather attach a PDF or a Word document you created, you can do that here. So your planner does not have to be the place you make your lesson plans. It's just where your principals will access your lesson plans. Any questions about that? Okay. So then I'm going to get out of this window for now. So that's setting up Forethought Planner and accessing curriculum documents. We're ready to move on to Strive. As you participated in the new teacher training this summer, one portion of that asked you to log in and register for a new teacher course. That course doesn't matter if you didn't do it, it's okay. It was just an opportunity for you to practice it and see how to do it. So inside of Strive, there's several different things we do here. One is sign up for professional development. The other is your evaluation. Your entire evaluation is completed here inside of Strive. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. There will be more training on this on your campus, just so you know that. So our objectives here are to talk about the evaluation process briefly, and then figure out how to find professional development courses we might want to attend. All right, again, staff set up their profiles. It's important that your evaluator is on the same campus that you're on. So if you teach at several campuses, but your evaluator is at Rockwall High School, make sure you have Rockwall High School set on your profile. So teachers are responsible for keeping that up to date from year to year. Inside of Strive, there are different appraisee types. As a new teacher to Rockwall ISD, you'll most likely be a T-test teacher, and hopefully you're familiar with the T-test process. So when your appraiser assigns that appraisee type, you will then see steps inside of Strive for you to complete. So that's the first step, or the very first thing that has to happen is your evaluator has to select you as an appraisee. And when they do that, then you will see these steps, and contained inside of those steps are different tasks that you need to complete. So now that I've been selected as a T-test teacher, I can see my evaluation process right here. And I can see the different steps that are required, and there are different tasks attached to those steps. And you click on these to expand it and open it up. Again, you're going to get more information on what you need to do. I just wanted to show you what will be there. So in that evaluation process, you walk through and you complete the different things. There's due dates, the number required, how to do it, and it's all done electronically. It's not done on paper. There's also this evidence box down here. These are things that you might do throughout the year that you want to include in your evaluation. If you helped write curriculum, or you presented at a conference, or something like that, you might want to include that as part of your evaluation process, and you can do that here. Once your appraisee type's been selected and you see those steps, there are documents customized for that specific appraisee type that you can access down here. These are help guides to show you the calendar, the dates that things are due. How do I even do this? What do I complete? So those reference documents are always available to you here to help you complete this process. I'm also planning to have videos on this page as well. So back on our webpage, I'm going to have videos that walk through this process as well. So you'll cover that on your campus, and you can always reference this here too. This is going to take me back. All right. Now, underneath the evaluation process is your professional learning. This is where you can track courses that you're currently enrolled in, courses that you've completed, and your portfolio. All right. So the enrolled courses, you would see the actively enrolled courses that haven't been closed yet. You will see the courses that have already been finished and you've been granted credit for. And then your portfolio is a historical listing of all of the things that you have done over the years. Your portfolio is where you can, when you go to get recertified, you can verify that you've have enough training hours for your certification. Also, if you had Eduphoria in a previous district, you are welcome to reach out to them and say, I would like a portfolio transfer. That's what you want to ask your former district for, a portfolio transfer, and they'll give you a file that you can't open, but you'll go to the help desk, submit that to us, and we will import your portfolio into our Eduphoria. So that way, if you want to capture and track data from previous years, you are welcome to do that as well. All right, next on the list is the course catalog here. So if you were looking to sign up for courses, you would access the course catalog, and you can scroll through and find different courses that are available. You can also, when you set up on your evaluation process, you create goals. Oftentimes you will tie t-test domains to those goals. So if I'm working on 1.1, if I scroll down over here on the right, I can say, look, filter out all the courses and just show me courses that address 1.1. And then I can see those courses. And the idea is that I'm enrolling in courses and participating in courses that directly apply to my goals that I've set for the year. And so this is a helpful way of filtering out. But again, you just can go through and click enroll, and that will be added to your list of enrolled courses. All right, that was a lot of information. Any questions? All right, you guys move pretty quick through it. I think we're going to have some extra time if you need it. So again, how to view that evaluation process is dependent on your appraiser selecting you, and they know that. Sometimes it doesn't happen. And then how to find those professional development courses. All right. Any questions before we just do this last little activity?
I was just looking through the courses really quick, and I found the one that's like RISD New Teacher Induction. Do we need to enroll for that, or?
Did anybody tell you to enroll in that? Yes. Christoph, you're saying yes?
I did never got an email telling me to enroll for it. I got emails telling me about these classes, but I didn't know I needed to go into Strive and enroll for it.
Okay. I'm going to look real quick so I see what you're seeing. I need to be here.
I think we were told to do so whenever we did that training.
There's a new teacher training from the summer, but right now you're saying the new teacher induction, which would be different.
Oh, okay.
So let me see here.
I never attended anything this summer that you keep mentioning. I don't know if I somehow missed something or what happened.
Jennifer,
there.
Okay. When did you come up and sign your paperwork with HR and get your technology?
Yeah, I did all that last year. I was here last year already.
Oh, then you wouldn't have been on our new teacher list.
Yeah, it was maybe that's why. But.
Okay. If you can you email me? I'm Christopher.McDonald with a K. If you email me, I'll make sure you get access to that training.
Okay, great.
I didn't either. I was on a letter of agreement last, like January through May, and then I got an official contract.
Okay.
But I didn't get anything about doing anything over the summer.
Did you come up and pick up equipment and things like that?
I kept all of my equipment, and then I signed my contract online.
So yeah, you got missed too. So could you email me as well and just say, hey, I need this information. I'll be happy to share it with you.
Okay.
I'm looking at courses. So there's a new teacher induction course. Yep.
Yeah, it's under new teacher support. Yeah.
Yeah, no one's mentioned that to me. So Christoph says that you should have gotten an email about signing up for it. Since you're participating today and tomorrow, you can go ahead and enroll in that course.
Well, I was just going to say real quick, for mine, it won't give me the option to enroll. It's gray. If you scroll down, it's a blue, and you can actually click on it. So maybe we are already enrolled in that.
Yeah, either you are enrolled or they might be manually enrolling you.
I got told by HR, I think last week, as long as we're attending today and tomorrow, it counts as our 12 hours of PD. Yeah. So I think this is taking place of that.
So when somebody is somehow enrolling you in this, because what you need are these 12 hours of exchange, and that's what today and tomorrow are. So I'll have to look into that and make sure I have accurate information. But either way, you've been in this class, you will get credit for participating.
Thank you.
If we
attended some stuff in Region 10. How do we get it on to Strive?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when I'm looking at my own portfolio, right? So my professional learning, and I click on portfolio, I can go to my portfolio and add a new entry. And this is where you can add courses that were created outside of the district.
Okay.
And we have a guide on how to do that. If you're interested, I think it's in that folder that was available of help guides. Let's see, wherever that was on a different page. But yeah, if you just click add new portfolio entry, and you'll just say it's an outside workshop. Did you get a certificate or something of completion?
Yes.
Yeah, so then you would, through this process, you would attach that certificate, and then your administrator at your campus approves that to give you the final credit inside of Eduphoria.
Okay, awesome.
Good, yeah, and that happens a lot, especially in the summertime. Lots of teachers do other things, so yeah, you can always add more information to your portfolio. Other questions? Okay, so we have about 13 more minutes. One last thing. So on that Strive page, there's a Flipgrid button. Sort of like we did earlier, you'd have to turn off your camera here. And this isn't required. We just would like to show it and then find out what you're excited about. So we're going to click Login with Google again. And then here you're going to respond, what are you most looking forward to in teaching in Rockwell ISD this year? Go ahead and post a response if you click that button. You got to have your camera off in Zoom. And just tell us what you're most excited about with this upcoming year. It's going to be different for all of us, that's for sure. But that's the last thing. I don't have anything else. So if you don't have any questions, you're free to go and get a little bit of extra break time. And I appreciate you guys being here and taking the time. Welcome to Rockwell ISD.
Where did you get to this one? Because I tried to find it again and I went back to the hello one.
So are you on the webpage, the Strive webpage? Do you know? I'm going to paste a link in the chat to that page. Oh, that didn't work, dummy. All right, in the chat, I posted a link to this page, and there you can find that Flipgrid button.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. All right, thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Chris, I might have a question for you.
Sure thing.
So during that training, they had to sign into the intranet.
Okay.
But I guess it requires a username and a password. And I wasn't able to do so. It said that I didn't have a username.
Are you on a district device right now?
Yes.
And so when you signed onto the computer, you would have used that username and password. It'll be your first name, last name with no period.
Lowercase?
It doesn't matter, but yes.
So it's first name, last name all together?
Yeah, with no period. And then whatever that password you log on to Google and log on the computer with.
Okay, I think it's working now.
Okay.
Hold on. Now, what does this allow you to do?
So the intranet are documents that are stored locally inside the district.
Okay.
And so you'll see things from HR, field trip requests, permission requests, grant requests. There's just lots of information in the intranet. I got to be honest, I didn't use it much as a teacher.
Okay.
But it's there, and once you've signed into it, that allows our communications department to create your Rockwell ISD website. So that's why we had to have everybody sign into the intranet, so that way she would see your active account.
Okay, I guess I'm already logged in, so if I ever need, I guess I'll use it.
Okay, great.
All right, thank you, appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for being here.
You have a good one. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, you guys have a great day.